Yo, just a meathead out here. Straight out of Khyber. Representing the casual obsession out here, you feel me? Listen. So I've been chilling out in Ebby. I just washed up on a ship. On the beach, some fool called Jeets is talking crazy. He's a trip. Thought I'd go hit the inn and grab some ale. Just kick it. Next I know Salimas is yelling, smite the wicked. So this is how it goes round here. They want me fighting with no fear. Handing me a sword. Will I survive? It's not clear. Cause now they got me running down a crypt so hating rests. These traps can slap scary, get back. But hey, where's the crest? I'm grabbing scrolls, doing puzzles, and even killing rats and spiders from the floor. Yo, can't y'all get some cats? I'm guarding crystals from cultists. You know my weapons, they smoking. This Drexel hand is evoking. Suspicion spells are being spoken. This is my adventure, it's my journey. All my trainers out here got me learning. With some gold I paid a friend called Byron. Monsters come around here, that boy Wylin in Korthos. Yo man, who really runs this place around here anyway? Mayor? What? Coin lords? Huh. I guess if they're paying, I'm playing, you feel me? Shoot. Hey, welcome back to Fixer Upper. This is Greg Locke from Khyber, and tonight I have Mel with us from Sarlona. Hey Mel, what's going on? Mel, are you there with us? Alright, cool. So tonight you're going to be talking to us a little bit about an Artificer build that you've been running. Can you tell me a little bit about what was your motivation behind this build?
Yeah, thanks for having me. This build is a lot of fun to play. I have run so many past lives with this build. I particularly like iconic past lives with this build. Just because it tends to shine in epics and it's a whole lot of fun.
Very good. And when you're running 15 to 32, are you normally soloing or do you have a static group that you're running up with?
Yeah, I run primarily solo.
Okay. All right, great. So if you are tuning in and you're seeing this version of the builder that Greg Locke's sharing, why does it look so much different than it normally does? Well, that's because exciting news, version 2 of the DDO builder is almost completely ready for rollout here. That's right, version 1 is going to be sunsetting soon. I actually had the chance to sit down with Matrim of Kenneth and kind of go through some tips and tricks and some of the changes that are coming in version 2 of the builder. So that episode's actually going to air next week. It's pre-recorded because the 4th of July is going to get a little bit crazy for me. But tonight we're going to be talking about a Shatterkai build. So why Shatterkai for this?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons actually. I know Shatterkai is not like top DPS, but Shatterkai gives you that first level of Rogue, and Rogue fits really nicely with Inquisitive builds. So I tend to default to Shatterkai, but really this can be any iconic.
So I'm assuming you're going to be looking to really take full advantage of both sneak attack and imbue dice then.
Yes. Yep. Focusing mostly on sneak attack, and then whatever imbue I can get, great.
Okay. Looking at the stat prioritization, it looks like int is going to be your main stat. Con, you took the 16. Why a little bit of an investment in Dex and Wiz?
Yeah, the wisdom is just for saves, honestly. There was some extra points left over, and I felt like +2 to my will saves was better than, like, allocating them other places. And then the dex is for prerequisite feats, like, I believe, improved precise shot needs dex 19. So there's some prerequisites for that feat that I have to hit.
And you left poor little Charisma down at 6. So
Yeah,
obviously you can cover that with that +8 tome and get to a decent Charisma, but you're only at a 22 here.
right. Yeah, charisma is the dump stat in this build. I'm mainly focusing on int and con and just whatever decks I need to get the feats. But the charisma, I mean, it's nice for UMD, but I have a lot of the tomes and the past lives that help me offset that quite a bit.
Okay, so let's go ahead and let's dive into the feats here, and you can just walk me through level by level and kind of explain the
Sure.
choices you made.
Yep. So obviously I'm taking level 1 rogue because of the Shatter Kai gives me level 1. Um, I always take point blank shot at level 1. It just always fits nicely. There's no prerequisites. It's just an easy feat, and you'll definitely want it. Levels 2 and 3, I pick up Artificer. Artificer, I really like having that extra gear slot for Rune Arm. To be quite honest, I don't even use my Rune Arm charge shot. It's there if I wanted to use it, but I just don't. But I like having that extra piece of gear to fit some set bonuses in with, and we can talk about that later. But Rune Arms, they're
So,
great.
so actually, going back to point blank shot, what do you like about that?
Um, so point blank shot, basically, like if you're close to an enemy, you're gonna deal some extra damage. Later on throughout the build, you can actually increase that distance. That point blank shot is active, and then I believe it's in um, one of the epic trees that totally removes that requirement for distance. You're always within point blank shot range. I think that's in Shirati, the tier 5. Yeah.
Now,
So extra damage.
this build actually winds up being a crossbow build. Um,
Yes, dual
so,
shooter.
so
Yep.
unfortunately, you can't benefit from the extra crit threat range.
Right.
Okay. And then I see you're taking precision.
Yep. Extra to hit. Um, it's a stance that you can have active. So, yep. You always want to hit. So, but also you're getting rid of or getting some fortification bypass, which is huge for sneak attacks.
And then it looks like the next 6 levels are going to be ranger levels.
Yep.
Walk
And
us
those can
through
be
why.
ranger or dark hunter.
So why
Um,
split into ranger instead of just staying pure arty?
yeah, great question. I really love the core 3 ability in Deepwood Stalker. Wait, core 3? Yeah, core 3 is called Sniper Shot. It's a multi-selector. Sniper Shot just deals insane damage, but it also opens enemies up to the sneak attack. So you'll be doing sneak dice. But I also actually, we can talk about this when we get to enhancements, but I go pretty heavily into the Deepwood Stalker tree. I really, really like it, especially for solo play.
And then I see at level 4 and level 6 you pick up a couple favorite enemies, Vermin and Monstrous Human. Any
Yeah.
strategy to those choices?
No, honestly, the Dark Hunter, what do you call those? Favorite enemies are not incredible. Like those are literally my flavor. Like I hate vermin. I hate trying to shoot vermin in DDO. So those are my favorite enemies. Like they just are so like short, and the hitbox is so small. They're just annoying. So they're my favorite enemy.
And then level 6 you're picking up Sneak of Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is not quite as good as it used to be, but it's still pretty good in terms of increasing your damage, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's a nice for a little burst, especially like on a boss battle in a raid. You're always going to be, or hopefully you're not pulling aggro, but with some threat reduction. But it's just a nice little burst of sneak damage.
All right, and then down at level 9, if you want to pick up there and just kind of take us through your feats.
Yep. Level 9 is Nimble Fingers, which you need for an Epic Destiny ability later that we can talk about. Level 12 is Improved Crit, ranged weapons, obviously, because you're shooting crossbows. Level 15, Improved Precise Shot. I use that a lot while I'm soloing. I will actually switch in and out of Improved Precise Shot and Archer's Focus. Archer's Focus is, if you don't know, like if you're standing still, you will build up stacks of ranged power. I think up to something like 60 range power you can increase with Archer's Focus active if you're standing still. So like on boss fights and stuff like that. But if I'm clearing packs of mobs, a lot of times I'm using Improved Precise Shot. If I'm running in R10 groups, I'll turn on Archer's Focus just so I don't pull a whole group of enemies. But yeah, Improved Precise Shot's a lot of fun while you're soloing. It's a lot of fun to like line up targets and knock down a bunch of enemies at once. 18 is also Luck of Heroes is another prerequisite for an ability I like to take in Epic Destinies. Crippling Strike, it's you could take Improved Evasion there. It's not a huge deal either way. I don't find myself getting hit with a lot of traps and stuff like that, so Crippling Strike's maybe a little bit better. I don't know. Do you want me to keep going through epics as well, or just stop
Yeah,
there?
yeah, keep
All
rolling.
right. Overwhelming crit for my first feat. I like seeing those bigger numbers early. 22 Pierce Cold Iron. That seems like a weird pick, but there's a reason for that. My weapons already bypass a lot of the DRs, so it was either Cold Iron or Silver, and I just picked Cold Iron. Those are the only two I didn't have. 24 Combat Archery. Increase that die step. That's nice. The 1W. Double shot, of course. You can't just keep maxing out double shot. You get like diminishing returns for double shot when you're dual shooting. So more double shot means more of a chance to strike a couple times. 27, improved sneak attack. More sneak damage. I love sneak dice, so I'm going to try to max those out as much as I can. Harbinger of Chaos at 28, more double shot, and then I also do change my or take alignment chaotic good to get that +2 imbue dice. So like I said earlier, I focus heavily on sneak dice, and then whatever imbue dice I can get, I take those. Level 30, Watchful Eye is a prerequisite for another Epic Destiny thing we can talk about in a minute. Sign of Ethereal Plane, sneak dice, six more sneak dice. It's huge. More range power. That's good. But also the invisibility guard is really cool too. I like that a lot. And then 31, Crush Weakness is fine. You do get like an ability in your Epic Destinies that will make enemies helpless on shots. So 15% extra damage is fine.
Okay, if you weren't going to take Crush Weakness, what are some alternatives that you might
Yeah.
choose from?
Elusive Target's nice if I'm planning to run a lot of R10s. Just that extra miss chance. Let's see. What else do I take? I mean, one more imbue die is not huge. I feel like that's kind of a waste. Yeah, probably those would be the two that I would pick. Crush Weakness or Elusive Target. Yep. You can always take some more hit points or Legendary Aim. I don't find myself missing a lot, so I've not ever needed the +10 to attack from Legendary Aim. And then Legendary Toughness, I'm soloing like R1 to R4, and it's not a big deal. I don't need the extra hit points for that.
All right, so go ahead and walk us through the trees. Maybe let's start with Shatterkai.
Okay. All right, Shatterkai. I think I said this already. Shatterkai is not like what this build is built upon. It's just the easy one to take rogue first level. So there's not a whole lot of great stuff in this one. But what I do take is I take all 5 of the cores straight across because you get like a little abundant step ability that recharges every 30 seconds. That's pretty nice. And you can go invisible. Kind of like if you get stuck in a group of enemies, you can go invisible real quick and get out of there, and they look around for you for a little bit. In I don't take anything in tier 1. Tier 2, I skip right to the sneak attack dice, of course. And then I go right up the middle and upgrade that. Let's see, Ghostly Essence in tier 2. It's like that invisibility guard. Yeah, even like I'm looking at the tier 3 is just, I think it's probably just a point to get to the tier 4. And then the tier 4, I'm doing traps while I'm soloing. So I hate stopping to search for traps. I love the little automatic search. So I take that.
So now that we're getting the extra racial points, once you have those,
Yeah.
do you think you'll just spend the extra points here, or is there something else in a tree that you'd like to grab?
Mm, there's really nothing in Shatterkai that's great. Um, yeah, I would probably just, I mean, you could pick up the displacement. I have a bunch of displacement clickies. Displacement's awesome, especially if you're only running like R1 to R4 or in raids. Um, so yeah, pick up the displacement is what I would probably do.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I mean the chain attacks are great on melee builds, but like
Right.
on a
Yeah, if
ranged
I'm
build, you're not really gonna
right,
benefit.
and this build is squishy. So if you're up close, then you're gonna get hit pretty hard. When I say squishy, I'm at like 2,000 hit points outside of Reaper, so it's not super squishy, but it's not great.
What do you think of Winter Favored?
Winter favored.
It's basically an extra sneak attack dice, but
Where is this?
it scales per imbue dice. So your sneak attacks deal 1d12 extra cold damage per imbue dice. And the dice would scale with your ranged power.
Right. Okay, so this, if I'm understanding it properly, this would actually replace my inquisitive law imbue dice, correct?
I don't know. It
I
is.
think I think it's an imbue toggle.
I would have. You know what? I'm gonna look that up really quickly. Winter favored.
I mean, if it's not, man, I've been misunderstanding that for I don't know how many years, or whenever they changed imbue, I guess. But yeah, that would be great to take. I
And
just assumed it was a 1d12 imbue toggle.
you may be right about that. It is a toggle. I just don't know if it's an imbue toggle. It's not labeled as an imbue toggle, so I'm not sure. It just says it's a toggle.
Yeah, let's see.
I'll tell you what, it's worth an enhancement tree
Yeah,
reset
reswap. That's true.
to test at some point, right?
I think it's listed under the. If you look on the wiki, I think it's listed on that list of toggles, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Imbue dice. Yeah, winter favorite is imbue toggle. 1d12 cold at 100% range power, which is way worse than the law at your side or whatever it's called, the law dice.
Yeah, because it's going to be 200% of your range power, right?
Right, and this is only on sneak attacks. I'm doing a lot of sneak attacks, but the the law dice are on every attack, on every enemy. So
I'd still test it on live. That's just me.
yeah, that's true.
I think the Eridor also said it's listed as an imbue. I love the wiki. The wiki's great. I just say that it's 99% directionally correct.
Yep. Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
All right, so kind of moving to the main attraction here for you would be the Inquisitive Tree, right?
Yep.
All right, so walk us through that.
Okay. I mean, this is pretty basic for any inquisitive build. And going back to the core classes that I take, um, you really don't have to have any of those classes that I've taken, just because the inquisitive tree is so powerful. It's so fun. I tend to always take 2 RD and 6 Ranger just for the reasons that we talked about, that rune arm and then the sniper shot. But really, you can do this build with just about any mixture of classes. You could throw Sork instead of Rogue, or you could put more Artificer levels in there if you wanted an Arty life or whatever. And the whole reason is because this Inquisitive tree is the bread and butter. So I'm basically going to be taking everything in this tree. Do you want me to walk through everything and explain it, or
Walk through the key
the
pieces that,
highlights?
yeah.
Okay, sure. So in this tree, the idea is you're going to be changing your attack stance to using dual crossbows. And um, at the capstone of this tree is an ability called No Holds Barred, which is kind of like the Artificer Endless Fusillade. Is that what it's called? Fusillade?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it. So basically, you're just firing your crossbows without having to reload. And it fires really fast. It uses an action boost, but with gear, you can basically be running that action boost almost the entire quest. So with that in mind, I take everything else DPS in this build. So up the left side, you get pluses to your attacks and damage. That top left core is, or that top left in the tier, what is that, tier 5, is that no holds barred action boost. Tier 1 in the second column is extra attack. I take that to be able to get to the capstone eventually, but yeah. 3 and 4 of column 2, tiers 3 and 4. I take ask questions first. You can alternate these. I feel like the shoot later is a little bit better of an ability to take in this tier. I don't remember what the alternative is there. Like you can swap them around, but shoot later is a massive attack. On here it says 5W damage plus 2 critical threat range and multiplier. So you're going to crit with it a lot, and you're going to see some big crits. So it's just a single shot, but a huge crit most of the time. And that's pretty much it. I take everything else that gives me imbue dice, double shot, and then also in tier 5 you have the diplomatic immunity. It's a toggle, and it stacks with any other toggles. It says when active, your attacks with light and heavy crossbows have a chance to automatically trigger diplomacy. You have another ability in this tree in tier 2, the third column, called observation. It says when you use diplomacy on an enemy, you gain 1 stack of observation. And that gives you +2 to your armor class, +2 to PRR and MRR, and that stacks up to 5 times. If you're playing solo, that's just going to basically always be on. So that's a pretty big buff to have. And with that tier 5 and column 5, the diplomatic immunity, you're basically always diploing mobs. And it's just an automatic thing. When you shoot them, you diplo them. So yeah, and then of course more intel.
Great. And with the action boost for skills,
Mm-hmm.
do you find that you need that in order to
No,
hit your trap skills?
no, I think I took that just because. Um, yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I needed 41 points, and with this build, I took 12 rogue. If I had not taken 12 rogue, I would not have had improved uncanny dodge, which is just another action boost you can use to get some defenses. I already have that. So what I'm referring to is in the top, or in the tier 5 in the third column, you can actually pick up improved uncanny dodge for 1 action point. I would put that there if you don't have it from the rogue tree. And there's a couple reasons for the defenses, but I also have a swap weapon with filigree set that gives me extra range power when I pop Uncanny Dodge.
And which filigree set is that? Just so
Oh
everybody
man, you would
knows.
ask. I think it's called Through the Mists.
Through the Mist? Yeah, I can
I,
confirm that. Yeah, so when you use Uncanny Dodge, you basically gain 50 ranged power for 15 seconds.
yeah,
So you keep that on an item swap.
I do. Yep. So I just swap to another crossbow, hit the Uncanny Dodge, and then I mean I guess after you swap back, you get like 12 or 13 seconds of that thing. But 50 range power is not nothing.
Yeah, I think that's great. All right, so then that brings us to Deepwood Stalker.
This is the controversial one. I think most people that run Inquisitive will run up the mechanic tree instead. Honestly, this is I think a playstyle difference. Because I solo a lot, there's a lot of things in here that I really like taking while I'm soloing. So I run up the Deepwood Stalker tree instead. But I can talk you through that. The main thing I'm looking to get out of this Deepwood Stalker tree is that third core ability, that sniper shot that we talked about. It's huge. It does. It's a really big amount of damage, but also that um, vulnerability to sneak attacks, opening up enemies to sneak attacks is really really good. So from the cores, you're getting sneak dice, but also that sniper shot. Then I run up. Let's see. We'll start in tier 1. I get the sneak attack dice from column 2, and then I have to take a point to get to the next tier. So I take that wild empathy, or I'm sorry, what is it called here? Increased empathy. And I think I have to take extra points in that later, but I can talk about that in a minute. And then tier 2, I go up the left side only, just get some hit points and some PRR. Uh, tier 3, I take Survivalist 2, which gives me more hit points, more PRR. But then I start going over to the right a little bit. In column 2, I take this Thrill of the Hunt, which is plus 1, 2, and 3 damage. So it's plus 3 damage when you take or 3 points into it. For 6 seconds after damaging an opponent beneath 50% health. And I find that that is up almost nonstop, especially if I'm soloing. So plus 3 damage, and it just stays up. Aim shot. I really am starting to like this. It's just another button to like another special attack that deals some extra damage. But if you're in Archer's Focus, it also automatically gives you 3 stacks of Archer's Focus. But because you're dual shooting, you're actually firing 2 bolts and it gives you 6 stacks of Archer's Focus immediately. And there's not like a waiting period. Like I can swap straight to Archer's Focus, hit that button, I'm immediately at 6 stacks, and it'll start ticking up from there. So there's normally like a cooldown period of when you're like moving around. You have to stay planted for, I don't even remember, it's like 3 or 4 seconds. But if you hit this aim shot, it'll start ticking up immediately. So aim shot's really good. Tier 4, more hit points, PRR, and then this is kind of the thing that I like to use when I'm soloing, and it's this killer ability. When you kill a target, you gain 5% morale bonus to double strike and extra shot chance or double shot for 15 seconds. This can stack up to 4 times. So that's just giving me 20% double shot, basically always up if I'm moving through a quest pretty rapidly. That's going to stay there all the time. And 20% double strike is a lot. So that's why I like to use the Deepwood Stalker tree.
Okay, and then you're gonna take summon Harper.
Yep.
Obviously, you want the trance, right?
Yep. The trance, obviously, this is an int build, so the int trance is the go-to there. But also, I'm getting my int to hit and int to damage from this tree. So the abilities right below and above the trance give me into hit and damage.
And then you also took this tree out to the third core. Is that
Yep.
just to spend the points that you need to get to the?
No. So I can hit the damage before I get to. I think what it was is I had 1 point left over, and I just had to make a decision. Was like, okay, well, what's going to be my best bet? And I think this was literally the last point I spent in the build. And it was the best point that I could spend. It was +1 to hit and damage, +2 to hit and damage versus evil, and that's basically it. If I had one more point, I would probably have gotten the intel instead. But this is this is good. 2 to hit and damage is awesome.
And then there's just a little bit here left for mechanic.
Yep. Um, so in the core ability, you don't really get anything from that sneak attack, point blank shot range because you're already gonna at least a cap. I guess while you're leveling, you could get something from this, but honestly, these would be the last points I would spend as I'm capping. You're getting +1 to hit from damage from the first tier there with crossbows. You don't get that added ability at the bottom because you are dual shooting, so it's really just +1 to hit and damage.
All right, and that's gonna bring us over to your destinies.
Mm-hmm.
So Sharadi is what we'd expect, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
so maybe let's start with Legendary Dreadnought.
okay. So Legendary Dreadnought is all about the action boosts. Um, like I said earlier, your No Holds Barred is an action boost. So you are going to be using action boost a lot. So in tier 1, you gain ability scores for the duration of your action boost. Tier 2, you gain extra action boost, so more times you can use No Holds Barred before resting. The tier 2s, you also can pick up the Esoteric Touch that gives you an imbued die now. And then tier 3 is some double strike. And then I think I had to spend a couple points in like heal amp and hit points to get up to the tier 3.
Okay. And Shadow Dancer, I take it you're gaining the additional sneak attack dice
Yep.
here, which is what we would expect.
Yep.
Interestingly, you pick up an epic strike here.
Yes. Yep. This is the strike I use now. I used to use Hunt's End and would pair it with that sniper shot from the Deepwood Stalker tree, but no more. Now Hunt's End is just a shot, and it's a. But yeah, we can talk about the Shadow Strike ability or Shadow Shot or whatever it is. Shadow Strike ranged. I've found that Shadow Strike ranged is, I would say, okay. The reason I take it is, when I say it's okay, I feel like the AOE thing does not work great. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or if it's just not um, like working properly, but a lot of times I just see it just not hit. However, when it does hit, it does, I think, pretty good damage. It says it deals 25% damage, 3 crit multiplier, 3 crit threat range. But I think one of the main reasons I take it is it's an 8-second cooldown versus like if I took the legendary dreadnought shot, I think it's like a 15-second cooldown. Or pin, I think also from the Sharadi tree is a 15-second cooldown. Let's see.
Yeah, Dire
Yeah,
Shock's
12
12.
second. Yeah, 12 seconds. But the another reason I take Shadow Strike is this. I'm just now testing this out. I haven't really messed with it too much, but I really like it. This ability right above Shadow Strike is called Paranoia. It reads, when you activate your Shadow Dancer Epic Strike, you imbue your weapons and spells with evil energies for 10 seconds. You deal 1d6 sneak attack dice in untyped damage on hit, scaling with force spell power or range power. I need to test this because force power spell power is a whole lot easier to get than range power is, and you can get it way higher. I'm not sure if it doesn't say what percentage the damage scales off of, but I found that that is a lot of damage, and you can keep that up 100% of the time. It's just dealing lots, hundreds and hundreds of untyped damage. And I think my range power was sitting out 3 something this life. So it's doing. I've not seen it hit 1,000 yet, but I've seen it hit 900 a couple times, and that's a lot of damage per missile.
Yeah, that's great. And Shadow Dancer is giving you this ability, Bring Darkness, as well. Tell me about that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Again, opening up stuff to sneak dice. Um, yeah. Darkness debuff says you're vulnerable to sneak damage. You have -3 spell resistance, -3 physical resistance. Um, it lasts for 12 seconds. So and it can stack up to 3 times. So not only are you debuffing enemies, but you're also making them um, vulnerable to sneak attacks, which is huge when I'm soloing because I don't have anything pulling the aggro for me. So I'm just running through and creating my own own opportunities to sneak stuff.
So there's a third level that you could upgrade with Improved Paranoia, right?
Yep.
But that's not really going to do anything for you, right?
Not really. Yeah, I looked at it and
You're
I
probably
liked.
not using any meta magics on this build.
No. Um, yeah, I looked at it and I really wanted to put the points elsewhere. Honestly, I think I would go up higher in the legendary dreadnought tree if I could, but I can't. But or
Well,
actually,
very
the helpless
soon,
damage in Shadow Dancer I didn't would be also really good.
very soon you'll be able to.
Yes.
The helpless damage from where?
Uh, Shadow Dancer. It's in tier 4, right in the middle. So
Uh,
another 15%, and then I think
you have to be in the mantle.
Oh yeah. So I'm probably getting that from Shirati.
Probably already have that in Sharati.
Yep.
Anything from the cores or anything else that you think
Yeah.
is worth highlighting?
Of course, D-Door. Oh man, D-Door is awesome. Um, you get that from the Shadow Dancer tree in tier 2. You're also getting, I believe, you get sneak dice in each of the cores. So I take all 4 cores in the Shadow Dancer tree. And then you get all kinds of bonus stuff in there: fortification bypass, helpless damage.
And that's going to bring us to your main tree, which is
Yep.
Sharati Champion.
Yep. So
So,
good.
I, I,
So fun.
I think most people are familiar now with Prism and
Yep.
what that's doing. You're taking Stay Strong, sticking with that Force theme.
Yep.
Is that so it can scale with the Shadow Strike as well?
Yeah. Again, I haven't really. So no, it's going to scale with my range power, the way I have it set up, because it says if you're using offensive spells, it'll scale off of your spell power, but if you're using ranged attacks, it'll scale off your range power. So unfortunately, I can't double dip here, but it does give me a little bit of. I think it gives me some force spell power somewhere in this. But yeah, kind of staying with the theme of the force damage. Um, I found that force damage is rarely enemies are immune to force damage. So I just like using that one.
Okay, and then Nerve Venom's pretty good, right?
Yep.
Uh,
Nerve
how
Venom all the way at the top. Yep.
how often do you see that going off on this build?
Honestly, stuff dies so fast. I couldn't even tell you. I think they've changed it now to where the little paralyzed symbol pops up on them and like
Yeah.
locks them down, and you can tell now. But um, yeah, it goes off a lot. Like you're shooting, I think it has a chance to proc on each of your bolts. Um, I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think it has a chance to proc on each of your bolts. So every shot you're shooting twice. You're seeing that go off quite a bit.
So looking at this, elephant in the room here is you still have Hunt's End here.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about Hunt's End.
Oh man. So I'm kind of ADD, and I like pushing buttons. However, this is still a really, really powerful button to push. I was really sad about the changes they made to Hunt's End, but after actually getting back to Cap and trying it out, I actually really like it. I know that's like not um, exactly the popular opinion, but just having another shot to use and not having to line up a shot with another powerful shot, it's actually kind of nice. Like I'm definitely seeing less damage from like one single hit, but I think it just kind of um, honestly like just evened out the damage across the board. So like I hit this shot and then I hit sniper shot and the damage is still really, really good.
And then, of course, you have the cores, so you're
Mm-hmm.
picking up ranged power in each core,
Yep.
you're picking up the ghost touch, you're bypassing some dodge and fort here. How do you feel about audience with the queen? Do you use that a lot?
Uh, honestly, I don't rest often. Like I've got so many no holds bars that I don't find myself using rest shrines a lot in quests. So no, I don't use it a lot.
And then, of course, in the fourth core here, you're also gaining +1 maximum many shot charges, but
That doesn't help,
that's not
unfortunately.
going to do a lot for you.
Nope, but I am getting the range power from the core and the hit points.
So, in the first tier here, this Shirati Champion Good Luck, I
Yep,
think that's what you were referring to earlier when you said if you have Luck of Heroes, it's going to
yep,
double that. Instead of being a +3 to all saves, it's +6, right?
yes, yep. It's not a huge deal. Like, I mean, I think it's probably the same bonus as Greater Heroism, isn't it? I think those are luck bonuses to your saves. I'm not sure, but
The Good Luck goes up to a +3, so you're basically getting double that.
yeah, okay. So it's not a big deal. There, so I've swapped feats around before, and I've picked up shot on the run and stuff like that. But I just think, like, just for ease, I like picking up this good luck. I found that I have to spend the points in this tree somewhere, so I might as well be getting something useful out of it. It's just kind of how I've looked at it. And having the +6 to my saves always on is kind of nice.
Then Faceit, you're getting some extra search spot. Listen, of those skills, which do you like the best and why?
Uh, oof. Search because I'm lazy. I don't want to search for those traps. So the more search I get, the more my active search just picks those things up.
Yeah, so your spot's gonna help you see things
Right, but
moving
you
when
asked
they're
me what my
hidden.
favorite one was. I would
But
much rather automatically search.
you're an imp build and spot's based off of wisdom, so I understand. Yeah, so
Yeah,
search that way you can get the traps. Now, do you tend to spot the traps ahead of time, or
yeah, I do.
have you just played DDO long enough you know where they're at?
Kind of both. Like with this build, because you have so many skill points to throw around. You're going to be able to spot most of the traps even without an item equipped. But if you have a spot item equipped, you're definitely going to see the traps.
Now, I notice you take Healing Spring here.
Yep.
Is that for yourself?
Nope. That's for. Well, I mean, yes, it is, but it's honestly just to spend points in the tree. It was the best next best thing. So I had to get to tier 5, and I think I spent 5 points in tier 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5 points. So I had to get to 30 points to be able to get to those tier 5s. And Healing Spring is the next best thing.
Depending
Like
on your
honestly, a
spell
heal scroll is
power,
probably better.
um, Healing Spring can actually be decent. Um, it's obviously good in a pinch to keep somebody from dying. So,
Yes.
um,
Yeah, if they're in cap or whatever, like it's fine. You can hit it. It is now greater vigor, right? Or vigor or something. Greater vigor. So you can pop it before a fight, and it helps keep like people topped off a little bit, but I just don't find it doing I don't put a whole lot of points into positive spell power or anything like that, so I don't find it ticking for a whole lot.
Yeah, I don't remember if Healing Spring snapshots or not, so I don't know if you could
Like swap, like
swap, cast
yeah,
it,
maybe.
yeah, swap
I'm
back
sure
and
it probably does. Again, I'm running solo most of the time, so and I'm in Reaper, so most of my healing is done outside of combat.
So Fey Form's letting you bypass. No, sorry, it's giving you damage resistance 10 except Cold Iron,
Mm-hmm.
and then your main hand becomes an implement. Again, the spell power's not really going to be too important to you, but
No, unless that force spell power thing from Shadow Dancer is working the way it's written.
yeah, typically it's 100% of melee. Or sorry, I'm saying it backwards. It's
Yep,
100% spell
spell
power,
power
and
and
then
200% melee ranged.
yeah.
It
So
doesn't say that on this, but again, I just haven't spent the respec and tried it out.
yeah, that'd be really interesting if it worked differently.
Yep.
Um, and then you have Pierce Deception. So
Mm-hmm.
because you already have the Watchful Eye feat, you're gaining an additional 5% double shot.
Yep.
Now, double shot works similarly to how double strike used to, in that it gives you a chance to fire that extra projectile, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, 5% is an extra 5% chance, or 1 out of 20 times, you're going to fire twice instead of once. So that's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Technically, no. If you're dual shooting, I think it's like 66% of that. So whatever, like it's technically like 3% because you take a hit when you're dual shooting to your double shot.
Oh, okay, it's going to decrease it across the board.
Right. I don't remember where that's listed. Um, it says it somewhere.
Let's double check the Inquisitive tree here.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking to. I know it's here.
I'm not sure if it's here.
It doesn't say, does it? I'm pretty sure it's 66%. Oh, nope. You use 50% of your double shot, is what the wiki says. Again, warning.
Where is it saying that?
I just looked up the inquisitive enhancements on the DDO wiki, and then
Yeah,
right at
that's
the
where I'm at.
top it says, uh, in the overview, it says you can use 50% of your double shot while dual crossbow combat style.
Okay, there it is.
I know it says it somewhere in the tree, but I'm not putting my eyes on it right now.
Oh yeah, here it is. Sorry. While fighting in dual crossbow style, you only benefit from half of your double shot. It does say it right there in tier 1. I was looking for 50%
Well, I was
instead
too.
of
Yep.
half,
Yep. Yep.
so
Yep. Yep.
I
It's like
thought
everyone on the other side of the stream is like watching us mouse over that and read it over and over. Like, it's right there. It's right there. Sorry, guys. It is right there.
well, it doesn't say it in the builder, so
Right.
that's what I was going off
Okay.
of.
Well, there you go.
All right. So picking up with Sharadi, it
Mm-hmm.
looks like that dealing. So I have this track ability up. Dealing damage to enemies with spells or ranged attacks reduces their saving throws and armor class by 1 and fort by
Mm-hmm.
2. Um, Tell me about how you see that in boss fights.
Yeah. It's, especially in raids, it's awesome. Um, any way you can debuff the enemies or especially the bosses, it's just great. Armor class isn't a huge deal, but if you're pushing like higher reapers, that's going to become more of a big deal. But again, that fortification bypass is awesome. to get those extra sneak dice off on as many hits as you can. And it stacks up to 10 times, so that's a lot. 20% fort bypass is a pretty huge chunk.
And everybody appreciates somebody who reduces their threat, so taking a
Yep.
15% less threat is pretty good. I'm assuming in
I
your augments you're going to augment the
Dark diversion.
dark diversion, so that'll
Yep.
get you to 35%.
Right.
Do you do anything else for that?
Yeah, I do. There's a potion that comes out during the anniversary dungeon. I think it's like one of the Steel Star coffees or something. I'm pretty sure I don't know of a way to look that up, but I'm pretty sure it does another 75% threat reduction. As long as you keep that up, there is a penalty. Like if you let that thing run out, it lasts for 90 seconds. If you let it run out, you run a little bit slower. So that can actually be pretty crippling in a pinch. But
Yeah, so it's
it's
called
pretty nice to just go ahead and max out your threat reduction.
Steel's Eternal Flask of Soothing Happy Calm Times Coffee. And in addition to giving you Diplo and Listen, it's also going to reduce your hate by 75%, which is pretty
That's
nice.
huge. It's
Um,
so big.
Especially on builds where you're thinking of slotting Treachery. Um, this is an easy swap instead of that to get you where you need to be.
Yep.
Um, Now, it does have some nasty effects if you allow the effect to expire.
Right.
But the nice thing is it's a cooldown of 90 seconds. It lasts for 90 seconds. As long as you keep clicking the coffee,
Yep.
everything's okay.
Yep. And it's great. And like, I mean, this might not look like it, but this build with the right gear, it does a ton of damage. Just absolute insane damage. Um, and especially single target. So you are going to be pulling the boss if there's not enough threat reduction.
Yes, I have commented in the past that many times ranged players get a reputation for pulling aggro, and that's because
Yeah, we all love those people.
they pull the aggro. Well, it
That's
they
why I run solo now. I don't have any more
they pull
friends.
the aggro and then they kite,
Yep. Guilty.
and not in a way in which anybody can still hit the boss, but they kite in random, sporadic. Like if I was gonna go left, you're definitely taking the boss right type of ways.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Don't
it's
be that guy.
yeah, exactly. Don't be that guy. Don't be me. Um,
Grab your Still
uh,
Stars coffee. Now that's the annual event, right? The anniversary where
yeah,
you
the
get this out.
anniversary event. So February comes around. Farm that thing out. It's so good.
All right. So it looks like you're picking up Lore of the Hunt. I'm up to your tier 5s.
Mm-hmm.
You're gaining the additional crit multiplier on
Yep.
rolls of 19 and 20. You have the Feywild attunement. So with your Wilderness Lore feats, you're picking up some dodge for every 4. You're
Yeah.
also always considered to be in point blank shot range.
Yes. Huge.
And
Extra
then
damage,
this
and
is
you can stay
probably
away from the enemies.
um, the last thing that you can kind of throw away here is it says your base attack bonus is now equal to your character level.
Right.
That's actually huge. Now this is going to cap at 25.
Right.
Um, Walk us through why is base attack bonus important for
Oh
anyone who
man,
doesn't know.
I don't understand it fully, but I do know that as your base attack bonus increases now with ranged, and I'm not sure. I know this with bows, but I'm not sure if how it works with crossbows. But as your base attack bonus increases, you are supposed to be shooting faster. So shooting faster obviously means more damage. So you really want to have that base attack bonus capped at 25.
And I haven't gone so far as to compare animations across races, male and
Right.
female, and
Ying's
all
done
of
all that,
that.
I'm sure. Yeah, we'll
Um,
let Ying do all that for us.
but this is basically your base attack bonus progression. And if you look here for Ranger, you get a full level, but for Rogue and Artificer, it's only 0.75 BAB per level, so you'd actually be lagging behind without that ability.
Yeah.
This is
I
going
think you end with 21, so it's gonna help out at the end for sure.
Yeah, so it's basically going to add to your attack rolls. So it's gonna help you attack that way. I don't know about the attack sequence. I know that affects melee differently than it does ranged. Um, for bows and thrown, it says attack speed increases with base attack bonus. Not sure about with crossbows how that
Right.
works.
I haven't done any testing. I just know that this build does a lot of damage, and I don't really worry about it. I often tell my friends when I'm leveling, the most annoying thing about playing Inquisitive while leveling is sometimes you have to shoot twice.
That's funny.
It's, it's so fun. I love this build.
So then now we have an epic moment. Tell me a little bit about Inexorable Advance.
Yeah. Oh man, this is like your I'm gonna punish something like boss mode, um, epic moment. It does an insane amount of extra damage, but it's kind of sporadic. It's just like all over the place. You'll get all kind. It's basically like your double rainbow ability, where you're just doing all kinds of random effects, but you're doing lots and lots of them, and you're getting lots of extra damage from those little random effects. Yeah, at the end it says your ranged attacks in this state have a 100% chance to proc double rainbow effects. So on top of all those other things you're getting at the top of the tree, like that's what I see the most damage coming from is that all those random effects popping off.
So it looks like you can move and still gain your Archer's Focus stack, which is
Mm-hmm.
huge.
Yep.
And you also don't take the IPS penalties. So this can be a huge boss moment, but it can also kind of be a, oh man, I've aggroed too much. Help me get out of
Right.
jail here.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so that leaves us about a half hour here to walk through the gear set.
Okay.
Now, would you say that this gear set is updated to the game today?
No, like I said before, I've been mostly focusing on past lives. So this gear is pre-Vecna for sure. Um, but it does really well once I hit 32, and I've just not like spent the time to play the Gear Tetris game any recently.
Okay.
So
So
I went ahead and listed it just in case to give someone some ideas. There are a couple pieces I would like to talk about for sure that might be outliers, but
you did
yeah,
mention already you have a filigree swap for Through the Mists.
yes.
To gain that extra range power whenever you use Uncanny Dodge.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about the rest of your filigree setup here.
Okay. Okay, let me find those. All right. So what I'm focusing on with these filigree is range power. Range power, damage, and double shot. I mean, that's just kind of the story of the build. Um, I do have 10 slots available in my weapon and 4 slots available in my artifact, so I've already maxed out that. So if you don't have those things, um, I've kind of placed my filigree in order of importance. And you'll see the last two I've picked up recently are Wild Hunter. I would just drop those. If you've only got 8 slots in your weapon, which is pretty attainable, I would drop the Wild Hunter ones. But we can talk through these. Um, I do have 2 raid filigrees, one in my weapon and one in my artifact, and it is the Spines of the Manticore is what I'm actually going for there. I don't really care about the Wreath of Flame, but the main thing is that it's +6 range power. And if you have the rare version upgrade, you have another +4 power. So those two, just off the bat, those two filigrees are giving me 20 range power. Also ticking up that Spines of the Manticore set. So You can see the Spines of the Mana Core gives you +2 damage with 2 pieces, which you'll already have, and then you just add 2 more pieces in. You'll get deflect missiles, and then at tier 4 is another +10 range power. So Spines of the Mana Core, I take it all the way to 4. And then I also have Crackshot Negotiator all the way up to 4. So I put the range power rare in both of my artifact and my weapon. That's giving me +5 for each of those. And then tier 3 is 15 more range power. Tier 4 is 5% double shot. And then Shattered Device, more range power, more double shot. I believe I put 5 pieces, although I only see 4 right now. That might have just been a misclick. I at least take this up to 4. I'll have to check on that, tier 5 or not. But you can look at the Shattered Device. It gives you range power again, but with 2 pieces you have +3 to your attack and damage. With 3 pieces you have another 3% double shot, and then with 4 pieces your melee and ranged attacks have a chance to reduce PRR and MRR by 10 for 10 seconds. And reducing PRR is huge because that just means you're doing more damage. So those are my sets. And then, like I said, the Wild Hunter, you can kind of take it or leave it. It's just adding a couple more range power there. Well, I say a couple, 15 from those 2 pieces. Well, 5, 10, 10, and then +1 to attack and damage.
All right, great. And then what are some of the key pieces of gear that you would call out? We probably won't get to augments, but we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
at
yeah.
least go through the gear.
Yep. So, like I said, this is a little dated, but I really, really love the Isle of Dread set. When Vecna came out, I was just like, I don't know that it's worth it to push any extra DPS out of it, so I just kind of left it. I did play the Jimamoni Facets roulette game, and you'll see that on there. That is not, like, I would not recommend anyone to really use your what do you call those things? Threads on re-rolling that Jimamoni Facets. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. It's especially with level 34 coming out, just save your threads. But a couple of pieces I would like to call out. I mentioned having 2 Artificer, so I can have that Rune Arm slot. I picked up the Rune Arm from the Isle of Dread raid, which gives me 1 more of the pieces for the set bonus. And I think that's huge, so that I can slot something somewhere else. I don't have to worry about slotting another useless ring or something to pick up that 5th set item. I can use that Rune Arm, which seems, if you've never played Inquisitive or double crossbows, it seems counterintuitive to be using 2 crossbows and a Rune Arm, but it works. And you can still fire your Rune Arm and you get all the bonuses from it. So I would say that Rune Arm is huge. And then the necklace. The legendary Raptor Teeth necklace is one of my favorite items in the game right now. It gives you enhanced blood rage, which I think there's maybe only 2 or 3 pieces of gear that give you this in the game right now. Enhanced blood rage says this weapon, or your weapon, is enhanced by blood. Each time you take damage or kill an enemy, there's a small chance that you will fall into an unholy blood rage, greatly increasing your melee power, which doesn't help us in this build, constitution, and damage. That damage is just flat damage, which does apply to your damage that you're doing with your ranged attacks. And then Relentless Fury, of course, is added into that, and that's a really good buff to have going, especially while you're soloing. It's just always on. I would say that's mostly it. The things that you're really looking for here are deception, insightful deception, improved deception, all the things that give you sneak bonuses. Um,
So one thing that you're not having is the um, blazing sniper sights from the Temple of Elemental
Temple of
Evil.
Elemental Evil, yeah.
So how hard was it to give up those? Because those have deadly, double shot, and quality double shot on them.
Right. So I already had the quality deadly from another the helmet, but I think what really made me just like pick the Raven sight over is I ended up with that dual shard or the dual gem that gives me the Windlasher and the Raven's Eye set bonuses. So the Raven's Eye set bonus gives me +3 bonus to sneak attack and sneak attack damage, and +3 just artifact bonus to attack and damage, which I'm not sure if there's another place to get that with those two um, abilities or effects, I guess you would say. So yeah, those are really good goggles, and like I said, I am not incredible at gear Tetris,
Well, you
so I'm just
can
kind of running with what I have.
you can augment the double shot. That I don't think
Yep,
that's a problem, but the quality is a little bit
quality double
harder.
shot. It's only 3%, right? I can't remember how much it is. It's not much, but then you're also only getting 50% because you're dual shooting. I'm trying to remember if I have that. Let's see. Let's just look it up. They're blazing something, right? Yeah, blazing sniper shot. Okay, so it's actually insightful double shot and quality deadly. So 5% really ends up being 2.5% double shot. I kind of like the +3 damage and then the +3 sneak attack better than that. Even if I think I am getting it from somewhere else. Insightful double shot. No, I'm not. Oh yeah, I am on the helmet. Insightful double shot 4. So I'm losing 1% double shot from not having that item slotted.
Oh, you're right. It is insightful. Yeah.
So really, the helmet is basically the same as the goggles to me, but the helmet, I already have it. I don't have to go run TOE to get those goggles. I know it's not too hard, but um, I got lucky with that Raven's Eye roll, and I'm just sticking with it for now.
Solid. And then obviously the red dragonhide armor. I know a lot of builds have moved away from this, but
Yep.
tell us why this is really good.
Yeah, it's the dripping with magma is really the only thing I'm getting from this. Um, Dripping with magma says this obsidian weapon drips with magma on every swing. Your attacks have a high chance to deal very strong fire damage over time. Um, it adds up. Like I think, correct me if I'm wrong. This stacks with everyone else's red dragonhide armor, correct? Like if multiple people are using it, everyone's getting that damage.
Yeah, because it's procking off of your attacks, I believe.
Right. So I, I I'm not using like I guess what I would choose instead of this would be like, again I could shift all this around. It would take me hours, but like I could probably slot in one of the Owl of Dread armors and then free up another gear space. And I'm honestly like, it's fine. The damage is fine, and that extra fire damage is great.
Yeah, and I know that the cap's going to raise, and then obviously with this being the level cap year for the expansion,
Right,
we're all anticipating some type of new end game gear Tetrising to be occurring anyway.
exactly. So I'm just honestly just not wasting my time right now.
Don't throw your gems out though, because I
No, no, no.
actually think they could become more valuable because I think it's more likely that the 5 set piece bonuses will get replaced rather than the 2 or the 3. But we'll see. We'll see
Yes.
which way they
Yep.
go.
Yep.
All right, so that's that's a pretty good overview of a majority of the build. talk to me a little bit about your hot bars. What's your attack rotation on this build?
Yep. Um, so I think the best thing I've ever bought for DDO is an MMO mouse. So I've got like my F1 through 12 buttons on my thumb, on my mouse. And then my hotbar, I just like line up with those things. Um, so my hotbars, especially for my thumb buttons, are all of my attacks. So the first attack I use on my hotbar is that sniper shot from Deepwood Stalker, and it's on a 6 second cooldown, so I use that the most. So I'm constantly tapping that thing. I think button two is that shot from the Inquisitive tree. Shoot later, it's called. I think it's on like an 8 or a 10 second cooldown. I can't remember. 15 second cooldown. So I'm using that less, but it's a very powerful shot. And then Hunt's End is button three, and then my Shadow Strike is button four. Um, and I'm basically just using all of those on cooldown. Um, like obviously I'm putting like all my action boosts and stuff like that on a hotbar as well. But really, those four attacks are my main attacks, and then I guess the aim shot from Deepwood Stalker as well. I use as one of my thumb buttons. So all five of those I'm using on cooldown. The Shadow Strike one I'm using a little more like in specific like instances. I don't want to pull a whole group of R10 mobs my first shot before the melee can get in there and take aggro. But yeah, my hotbar is just those five items.
Yeah, I once had a friend who was really heavily in the monk, and he was used to just all keyboard commands.
Oh my
So
word.
he had every hotbar memorized, and instead of popping any of them out, he had them on a scroll rotation on his mouse wheel, so he could
Oh man.
just scroll through the hotbars and just muscle memory.
Oh my word.
He had
That's impressive.
yeah, he had one set up for I guess every monk combo or like every
Oh
every
my
type of
word.
attack he was doing. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
impressive. No,
out
it's not like I like this build because it's very entry level friendly. There's not a whole lot of buttons. Like it's fairly simple. Line up monsters, have improved precise shot on, and mow them down when you're leveling. Um, use your action boosts, and then whenever you want to, just use your little special attacks that deal insane amounts of damage. Um, However, this build is also complex in the sense that like I feel like this is a very skill based build. Like if you really work at it, you can become really, really good with Inquisitive and deal probably like I don't want to scare off anyone by saying this. Inquisitive is really simple, but the more you practice at it, it gets even better. And just like I said, lining up those enemies. Oh, one more thing on my hotbars. I do put Archer's Focus and Improved Precise Shot on my hotbar, and I'm constantly swapping in and out of those depending on the situation. If I'm only fighting one enemy, I'm always using Archer's Focus, especially if I have aim shot off cooldown just to bump up my range power. And then I'm swapping right back to Improved Precise Shot to mow down the next group of enemies. So as much as I can, I'm trying to use Archer's Focus and keep that maxed out because that has a ton of range power.
so what items that wouldn't show up here in the builder do you keep on your hotbars just as
Mm-hmm.
helping you solo items or things that really
Yeah,
help this build specifically?
I mean, most of it's pretty simple for me. I like obviously I keep all my potions and scrolls and wands and stuff like that. Like you need Night Shield or Shield wands because you don't get that from anywhere in this build. That's huge. You gotta have Magic Missile protection. Um, so especially if you're soloing, all the Magic Missiles are coming your way. Um, I use displacement clickies, but we already talked about how you can get that spell from the tree, and that just might be easier for people to get. But use displacement, especially when leveling. Um, I keep all of my like main gear items on a hotbar, and then like anytime I have like clickies to swap in and out of, or spell absorb cloaks or whatever, I keep those on the next hotbar up. Or like for instance, I have a little Death Ward goggles from what is the name of that place? Saradusk?
Tangleroot.
Tangaroot. Yeah, there you go. Um, so I'll like click on that Death Ward clicky and then swap right back to my main gear set, and I can just quickly glance at that main gear and just like look to make sure all of those items are active. Uh,
You can also get the necklace. I think it's out of White Plume Mountain that has the
yeah,
Mass Death Ward.
Mass Death Ward, right? Yep. It's a little bit higher level, isn't it? Or is it? Is
It
there a
is,
heroic
yeah.
version of it?
No, no, no. Well, there's two versions. There's a heroic version. I don't remember the level. I can look it up. I'll look it up.
Probably
Well,
8. I feel like that's where you get what's that sword? That was really good from there. Yeah, I can't think of it. Black
it
Razor.
is level 9.
9. Okay, so
But
it's I
it
think
only has one charge of Death Ward at level 9, whereas the goggles, I believe, have 3 charges.
of mass, right? No, the goggles have one charge,
Oh, the
but
goggles
I
are
think
one
they're level
charge as well.
5. Yeah. So I just keep 3 sets of those goggles. They're not exclusive. And then it's an 8-minute clicky, and it's more than enough to get you all the way through. I do have I think you can get it from the Mysterious Remnant vendor, the endless potion of freedom of movement. I don't have freedom on this build, so keeping that up is really nice. I would say that's about it. Like this build, like if you're staying out of the way of monsters, it's just I don't know. It's just really fun. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just point and shoot.
What's the most difficult content you've run with this build?
Um. So as I level, I try to avoid all of the legendary Reaper quests so that I can run them at cap with a really good R10 group. And I do R10s pretty frequently. I've already talked about how this build is a little squishy. So, like, if I do something and I'm not paying attention, I will die. But that's just that comes from knowing the game, knowing the quests, knowing where the mobs are, waiting for your party. I don't solo R10 on this build. It's just not worth the time for me. But R10 groups, I'm either leading kill count or second in the kill count. Now, kill count isn't everything. I understand that, but you get the idea. Like I'm killing a lot of monsters with this build, even in R10s.
Yeah, you're a contributor to the party. And you can get the traps too, right?
Yep, no problem.
So, real quick, stat readout. You have around 2,700 hit points. You have PRR above 200, an MRR of 100. You have decent fort at 194. You have 19 dodge. So, you know, above 2,700 hit points on a range character, I actually think that's decent. I think you're
Yeah,
actually in
I
decent
can.
defenses range.
Yeah, I can take one hit in an R10. Now that's with a lot of Reaper points. I've got I think 99 now, so a lot of that's coming from Reaper hit points. I think.
Your range threat reduction is showing as 35, but obviously whenever you hit that coffee, you
Yep.
go to negative 110, so you're
Yeah,
perfectly
I don't
fine there.
really bother with that coffee unless I'm in like a boss fight in a raid or something.
You have 12 imbue dice, but here's the magic: you have 32 sneak attack dice,
Yep.
with a decent damage bonus of 39. Um, Double shot is almost 100%. Um,
And with
and
Reaper clickies, you go way over 100
and
or Reaper ability.
fully max with Archer's Focus here, your range power it says is going to hover around 440.
Yep. And then that's not with your swap for the through the mists. And there's another one. Is it Deadly Rain? I feel like Deadly Rain on action boost, you get another plus 20. Let me look that up. There's another filigree set that I used to swap.
I think
I
you're
think it's
right.
called Deadly
I
Rain.
think you're right. I think Deadly Rain does that as well.
I think it's either 20 or 25 power range power. Let's see.
It's 20.
20. Okay, so it's not a lot, but that pushes me, it keeps me over that 400 for sure.
Yeah, but if you swap hidden action boost, hit uncanny, and swap back, that's an
Well,
extra
yeah, it's
70, right?
70. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So
And your no holds barred counts as an action boost for that ability. So you're always hitting it anyway.
you're bypassing 108 fort, you're bypassing 8% dodge. You do have a decent helpless damage bonus of 78. Let's take a look at your crit multiplier. So basically, you're 16 to 23, 5. Multiplier's not keeping up with melees, but that's a decent range, especially considering how many attacks you're doing on the build.
Yep.
So I don't think you're going to hit anything with your Dinosaur Bone Rune Arm. If I remember correctly, it's like a breath weapon attack range. So
Right.
you're probably not going to be landing
Nope.
that.
I'm literally using that for the set bonus piece. And actually, a lot of times this doesn't work, but some of those scales actually do, like the scale or the augments that I put in the rune arm do apply to my main weapon. So like the ice scale and the ice fang, I do get the ice damage from those on the rune arm.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes, and the extra planar. So I also use the extra planar shadow on the rune arm. It gives me the 3% double strike from that, or double shot. I mean, um, I'm not sure that the 20% alacrity does anything. Like I think I'm already shooting as fast as I can, but I'm not sure about that. And then the 2d6 sneak attack from the gold fang does apply as well. So not only am I getting an extra like set bonus piece, but I'm also getting 4 more augment slots to add some stuff in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, this build looks like a lot of fun. Any levels when you're running it iconic? Any problem levels, or
None.
feels pretty smooth the whole way?
Oh man. So level 15, you just put on Sharn gear and you're good to go. Like I literally just wear Sharn until I cap. There's a few like Borderlands pieces I put on just to increase my stats. But that what is that crossbow? Um, that has the Vorpal. It's like poison damage also. I meant to look that up before. Sorry guys. You guys are all shouting at me because you know what it is before I do.
It's not the rat catcher, is it?
No, no, no. That's great for lower levels. The level 15 one from Sharn from um same old song. Night something. Hold on, I gotta look it up.
The night shooter.
Yes, that one.
So the night shooter looks like it does have Vorpal, Poison 4, and Nightshade Venom, which is gonna put them to sleep.
Yeah, it never does that because you're literally just one-shotting everything at level 15.
So
Like
they
honestly,
kind of
like
go to sleep just
yeah,
permanently.
yes, yep. Like the joke is real. Like if I don't kill it in the first shot, I'm a little annoyed. This build is great at level 15, and that crossbow carries me through. I think I do swap to like a Cormarian crossbow from Evening Star that has paralyzing on it when I hit level 20, just to have the filigree sets. Um, but yeah, paralyzing is really fun in this build. Vorpal is really fun on this build.
Great. Well, after this, I'm gonna go ahead and get this posted up on the forums for anyone who's interested. Think the build sounds fun, or if you're looking for another build to try out to help you get some past lives in. Mel, if people have questions about the build, where's the best place they can reach you?
You can, uh, I guess you can find me on Discord. My name is Melchizedek. Or if you're on Sarlona, I basically only play Melchizedek. So, yep.
Yeah.
I am
So
on the forums, but I post very rarely. I did go ahead and post this build um, a couple of days ago in prep for this, but um, you can either find me there and send me messages there. I check that infrequently. Probably Discord's the best way to get a hold of me.
I'll provide a link to the build. You can also find Mel in the Portable Hole, which is a new community Discord for DDO. I gave the link to it there. Um, Mel, thank you so much for hopping on. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on Acquisitive and for sharing this Shatterkai build. It looks great.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a lot of fun.
All right, once again, this is Griglock from Kyber with the DDO Experience. One last note here before we head out. We are in the middle of doing a fundraising campaign. You can actually see it at the bottom of the stream right now. It's for Extra Life. This is for the kids. So what I would ask is, over the next few months, in lieu of subs, follows, likes, anything like that, if you have a buck, donate $1. It all goes to the kids. This year it's going to the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals, and definitely trying to hit our fundraising goals for that prior to the end of the year. So if you like the stream, you like what we do, that'd be a great way to say thanks. All right, Mel, thanks again for joining us tonight. And next week on Fixer Upper, I'm actually going to be airing the broadcast. I had a conversation um, with Matrim of Kenneth, who shared all his tips and tricks. Well, maybe not all of them, but a bunch of tips and tricks of how to use version 2 of the builder and some of the powerful features he's built into the new version of the tool. Look forward to seeing everybody next week, and we'll see you guys then.